I don't have a relationship with my half-sister since she was born from my mother's affair, but now she wants to move into my house. It feels like everyone is against me. I don't have a real relationship with my half-sister, HS. My dad divorced our mom when I was 5, and my little brother was 4, almost 5. HS was the result of my mother's affair and was born exactly 9 months after me. My dad was with my mom until I was 5. That's when I told him about the man she kept bringing over when he wasn't around, who turned out to be HS's dad. My dad traded the house to my mom for taking his name off HS's birth certificate. He provided child support until I turned 8. My mother left me during her week because her partner didn't want to take a child that wasn't his to visit his family for the holidays. HS didn't like me much either, claiming her grandpa preferred me. My dad wanted to keep things friendly and help me maintain a relationship with HS, but I wasn't interested. I didn't spend any time with her after that. She would say she didn't have a sister, so I never claimed her. I need some advice and have a question. On the day I created my account, HS reached out to me. I have no idea how she got my number, but she was crying about our mom kicking her out and not wanting anything to do with her now that she's married to some guy I don't even know. I just ended the call with her, and now she's texting me, saying she really needs her sister's help. She claims she has no other options. Her father stopped talking to her some time ago, and nobody is willing to pick her up. She's 6 hours away from me, which is pretty obvious since I live right next to my dad. I'm feeling conflicted because when she called again, I made it clear that we're not really sisters. I told her I'm not going to pick her up or offer her a place to stay until she gets back on her feet. After that, I hung up once more. I blocked her number, but she keeps calling from different numbers. Now, my mom's family is saying I'm a terrible sister and that I should be more understanding since I was once the child who got kicked out. I need some perspective. Am I in the wrong, or could I have handled this better? Feedback. If your mother's family is really out of line. Is anyone offering to help your high school? You don't have to do anything for her just because you share some DNA. Do you really want to behave like she did? I would be careful about letting someone into my home if I didn't trust them not to steal from me. You're more familiar with her than we are. If you want to make a difference, make sure to set clear ground rules from the start. Oops, that's my main question. Do they act the same way she did? If it had been a few years back, I might have helped her. When we were kids, I think she was just repeating what her parents said. We're both 25 now, and I don't understand why, after 17 years, I'm the one she turns to. I regret saying what I did when she was already upset, but I just don't understand it. As far as I know, no one is helping her. Most of the calls and texts I get are from people I don't really know. My grandma says she has a full house at the moment, and since I live alone, she thinks I should help HS out. She's saying that because of the family helps family mindset. I don't really know her that well anymore either. She's just as much a stranger to me now as she is to you. I'm curious about what others would do if they were in my situation. Update 1. They left her at my house. Here's my rant. 4 days ago, I created my account and thought about asking if I was amazed by something. My half-sister, HS, called me in tears, saying our mother kicked her out and she really needs me. I hung up the first time. When she kept calling and texting, I told her we're not actually sisters. I wasn't driving 6 hours to pick her up or letting her stay with me. I keep getting texts and calls from my mom's side of the family non-stop. My grandmother, the only family member I still talk to, urged me to be a good sister and let HS stay with me. She even told HS that I have my own house and gave her my number. I blocked my grandmother and others who think I should be understanding since we've both been abandoned by our mother. I told my grandmother it isn't the same, but no one seems to want to recognize that. Just to give some background, HS and I are 9 months apart in age. She was born from an affair, and my dad was with my biological mother until I was 5. He said she kept bringing a man around when he wasn't home, her affair partner, who is also HS's biological dad. My dad divorced my mom and gave her the house so she would take his name off my birth certificate. I lost custody to my BM when I was 8 because she abandoned me. This happened because my AP didn't want to take a child that wasn't his to family events. My dad wanted to keep things friendly so I could bond with my half-sister, but she acted like a mini adult and never saw me as a sister. I didn't enjoy being around her, so my dad never made me. BM, AP, and HS moved shortly after this. BM had been working in childcare but lost her job because no one wants to hire someone who abandons their own kids in the middle of the night. I haven't seen HS in 17 years. I had no idea what she looked like until I got home today. She sat on my porch with a suitcase. A car, probably my grandmother's, drove away as soon as I parked. I stayed in the car, too angry to get out, and I still feel that anger now. She kept saying she needed me and started crying, saying our mom was terrible, her dad had cut contact, and BM's new partner didn't want her in his house. I lived next to my dad. When a girl started knocking on my car window after I just stared at her, I called him to explain what was happening and asked for advice. My dad told me to stay in the car and call the police, saying I had a trespasser. So I did. I didn't leave until the police arrived, and when they did, HS told them I had agreed to let her stay, making it seem like I was leaving her without a place to live. I just showed them the texts, the only ones I sent in response to everyone asking you to let her stay. Noda, you have the space. Noda, she's your sister. Noda, can she please stay with you? Only got refusals until I decided to block them. When she kept saying we're sisters, I told the cops I hadn't seen her in 17 years. I didn't know her, and I didn't even know what she looked like. We only share an egg donor. We're not family beyond that. I unblocked my grandmother and called her. I didn't get a chance to say anything. She shouted, "Look, OP, I love you, but you need to move on from this. She's family and she needs you. I told your father that if he raised you to be selfish, you'd end up in a bad place. She's facing the same struggles you did." She ended the call abruptly, and I informed the police that they could either book HS or take her to a shelter. I didn't mind either way. I just want her to leave my property. They took her, and now I'm on my dad's couch trying to figure out what just happened. He prefers that I don't stay alone at the moment in case they return. I'm really frustrated right now. I just don't understand. 17 years without contact. I only talk to my grandmother on holidays. I barely know most of my aunts, uncles, and cousins, yet they flooded my phone. Because of BM, I feel forced to follow their demands. I am 25 years old. For years, it's just been my dad and my dad's side of the family. BM and her family haven't done anything for me. They don't even know when my birthday is. Even my grandmother texts me on the wrong day, and I don't even get a phone call. If HS really needs help, someone should step in and assist her. I don't know her, and I don't know any of you either. I won't let a complete stranger into my home. 6 hours is a long way to travel after surgery, but somehow it's not too far when it comes to pushing me into something. Feedback, Hawking, DC. This is wild. Why isn't anyone from the maternal side taking action? How old is the half-sister? It's strange that your grandmother would make a 12-hour round trip just to leave your half-sister with you. Oops, she's around 24 or 25. I believe her birthday is coming up soon. It's wild that she came all the way down here. I understand there's a lot more to this situation, and honestly, I'm not interested in finding out. I just want to be left alone. Hawking, DC. I understand you don't intend to let her move in with you, but please stick to that decision. She probably won't leave, won't pay rent or help with expenses, and you'll need to go through the legal process to evict her. Avoid the trouble. The thought of going through an eviction process is one reason I really don't want anyone staying with me, to be honest. It's been 7 nights in a row for guests to turn into tenants, and the one time a friend of mine let someone stay, a week turned into 6 months of court hearings and property damage. I'm going to avoid the trouble. Update 2. They brought her to my house. I looked at the camera footage last night and this morning. HS and BM's mother searched under mats, rocks, in potted plants, the mailbox, and checked the doors. I don't have a spare key on my property. My dad, grandma, and grandpa have keys that they keep with them. My uncle fixed up the cameras that belong to me and my dad. We have devices that alert us on our phones when they detect motion. I installed Ring doorbells at both the front and back doors. Other features exist, and the cameras are more discreet too. I went to the police department with my grandpa while he was doing this. HS got arrested for trespassing, but she wasn't held for long because BM's mom came to get her from the station. They maintained the falsehood that I offered HS a place to stay and provided statements. I'm uncertain about the outcome, but I'm taking measures to safeguard myself, my belongings, and my dad along with his possessions. This was her first offense, and HS doesn't have any record beyond this. I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest. It may sound bad, but I was hoping she had at least one previous experience. People in the comments suggest that having one could lead to a better outcome for a lasting situation. BM's mother has a criminal record. There were issues with harassment, trespassing, and domestic violence. I also told the police about this. I got a temporary restraining order today, so that's something. I provided the police with the camera footage and printed copies of the texts, along with a USB drive. I also gave a statement, and they contacted a judge to issue the TRO. I discussed various topics such as self-defense tips, upgrading my security system, and the possibility of getting a gun for protection. I felt really anxious and kept talking because it dawned on me that these people know my address and are ready to travel 6 hours to harass me and break into my home. The messages and calls keep coming. I unblocked and muted them. There are threats that are direct and those that are indirect. BM's mother insists that because I have a whole house, a steady job, and no kids, I should take in HS or she'll give me the punishment my dad should have. HS left a voice message about coming over later today. She said she's staying with me because that's what family does. They help. After not getting a reply, she sent several texts saying I should be more understanding. She mentioned she's in a difficult situation and that she's moving in for at least a week until she can support herself. It takes 7 days to gain tenancy here. Here's some more information for those curious about the age difference. I'm born on February 1st, and HS was born on November 29th. I mention 9 months specifically because I'm not counting the weeks or days. I think it's important for people to know we're the same age, as it helps explain why I don't have a relationship with her. I'm not sure if she was born early. I never asked, honestly. And some people are saying they have similar gaps too, so I don't have anything to contribute. Several people have asked if I dislike HS and if I seem bitter about things she said as a kid and actions her parents took. In my first post, I engaged with someone in the comments and confessed that if this had happened a few years ago, I might have assisted HS without hesitation. As kids, she was just repeating what her parents said. I don't hold that against her, nor do I blame her for BM leaving me behind. It's been 17 years. We've been adults for 7 of those years. She had the chance to reach out but chose not to and claimed she had no sister. I could have reached out at any time, but I didn't. I moved on with my life. I was in therapy after being abandoned, and it took years to get past the feeling of not being wanted by anyone on that side. Now, she's creating an issue for herself. Aside from BM's mother, HS was on my porch with a suitcase, prepared to intrude into my home and life. She let herself be driven 6 hours to my place, sat on my porch for 30 minutes, and then lied to the police after I said no several times. She only reached out when she needed something, and now she's trying to insert herself into my life just because we're related. I don't hate her. That takes too much energy. I do feel resentment towards her, her grandmother, and the rest of her family now. I was overlooked for years, and now I feel uneasy in my own home because HS and her friends can't accept rejection. This isn't about BM's affair. It's about HS and her family destroying my safe space, my home, with their nonsense. Resentment from the past plays a role here. I haven't talked to her in 17 years and had no idea what she looked like. Now, out of nowhere, we're sisters because she needs a place to stay. I really don't like that. I feel good about my choices. I posted on Reddit, asked for advice, and listened to my dad. The lawyer I talked to said pretty much what everyone else has been saying. Unblocking and muting to gather proof of harassment, contacting the police, and presenting the messages as evidence that there was no implied invitation. This was clearly the main concern for me, as even allowing HS to stay on my porch could have been a problem. It was smart to give the police the camera footage of HS and BM's mother searching for a spare key. Upgrading security, getting self-defense items, and asking officers for recommendations about self-defense and my desire to get a gun for protection all support my case. Even though this was HS's first offense, I still don't feel safe, and she is a big reason for that. I really don't. Thanks for all the advice. If they come as planned, I'll trigger my security system and contact the police. Edit: the TRO wasn't active when I posted the update since they hadn't been served yet. A neighbor spotted them at a hotel close to my house and reported it to the police. I was reporting the message, though. The TRO applies to both HS and BM's mother. Update 3. Worried cousin on HS. I was looking at my first messages and came across one of the many I muted without reading. This comes from a cousin of high school. Keep in mind, the information has been rearranged for clarity. I had a lot of text, so I organized it. AP stopped talking to HS when she turned 20. She hid BM's affair with Rando. AP stopped covering her tuition and ended all financial support. HS has no work history. She got kicked out by BM a month ago for sleeping with Rando and one of his sons. My son just turned 18 a couple of months back. HS returned home to find hers and Rando's belongings on the curb, and all the locks changed. No police were called. The cousin is unsure if BM informed the boy's mother, but she did share it with the whole family. Basically, it was about safeguarding your children and your marriage. HS says she only had sex with him on his birthday, but BM argues he was a minor at that time. The family is determined to find her a safe long-term place to stay since HS is pregnant. Everyone dislikes her, but leaving her behind feels wrong because she's pregnant. The cousin questions the pregnancy. HS showed GM a positive pregnancy test, but no one else has seen any proof. HS has a track record of dishonesty. I stayed on the couch of friends who don't have kids. She has borrowed a car without asking, pawned expensive items, and used money intended for interview clothes and travel to buy pricey outfits for herself and the baby. When the police get involved, she lies and has had someone arrested by accusing them of SA when they tried to get her off their property. My uncle, one of GM's 3 sons, came up with the plan to get HS into my house. The GM seems to either brag or complain about my youth, lack of kids, good job, and the fact that I own a house. This uncle pointed out that I had no responsibilities, extra money, and a lot of space. No one wants to leave HS behind, so this was the best option. The cousin: don't give an inch, not even a ride to a shelter. A person caused a scene and almost got someone arrested by continuously lying about what happened. I saw your 2 posts. Take care of yourself. Responses: 7th Azanopi, well done to the cousin for filling in these crazy gaps. Impressive. And Dia Jewel Jacks: Op should stay connected with this cousin to find out what else is happening. They can't be finished already. That's creepy, honey. I suspected a pregnancy was involved when they mentioned needing to meet the minimum number of days for tenancy. They want her to stay long enough that it's hard to get her out quickly, increasing the chances that she has the baby if she is really pregnant. And how could you possibly kick out the baby? Be careful. I believe this is just the start. Platform: Hand, Crimson. Genuine concern about your vacation plans. Don't leave your house or travel for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Be prepared for her to cause a scene on one of those days and attempt to get inside if you have guests, or someone steals your packages. Take care, OP. We support you. Oops, I'm getting ready for that. I've gone through all of Camper Nomad's posts, and the lengths HS and GM might reach are really frightening. My grandma mentioned it herself and suggested we just have it here. If they show up during the holidays, we'll all be there and prepared for the nonsense. Thanks. Update 4. I'm doing fine. No significant news today. All communication has ceased, my whole neighborhood is on high alert, and the family shifts keep happening. One of my friends stayed over last night, and another friend is staying tonight. Today, I'm hanging out with my aunt, the one who has the keychain and fisticuff bracelet, and my grandma. No one came to my house late at night. I'm taking the advice of several people, starting with creating a foo binder. My aunt suggested making transcripts of all the saved voice messages. I think that's a good idea to include with the USB drive of them. That's what I'll be doing today. Another tip I saved is to write down something every day in a spiral notebook, even if nothing significant occurs. I began this right away. I will be recording my trips to and from work or anywhere, honestly. Several people worked on the door screws. That was one of the first things I did when I bought the house. All my windows were replaced when I bought the place. These are impact windows, so breaking them will require significant effort. My uncle has always prioritized home safety, so he taught me everything about it. Even though I live next to my dad and am close to the rest of my family, he always reminds me that I'm still a woman alone in a house, and you can never be too safe. I'm feeling a little better after reading all the advice given. If you're facing similar issues, consider the advice given in the comments. I appreciate all the support I received. It made a difference. Holiday vacations are officially canceled and refunded. Always get travel insurance. Many stories I've heard make me anxious about leaving my home alone. My neighbors said they would keep an eye on my house, but I'd feel better being there myself if anything comes up. This year, I'm hosting Thanksgiving and maybe Christmas. My grandma had this idea, and she's really excited about it. So today, I might go shopping for decorations. Thanks everyone once more.